session.
Nuga asked me that. Get into the session.
It was quite the experience for our fledgling Canaanites.
We went out to go and find Anna, Abby,
Alice.
Anna.
Alice.
Alice.
Who the fuck is that?
Later, you found out she's probably going by Anne right now. That is true.
Yes.
Who built a perfectly good, sunproof, and serviceable shelter?
That would be me.
What
So we
was
got
the-
dropped off. We got dropped off at a construction site that was like a housing development place that was half done. And originally we were talking about sleeping in the attic of a newly constructed house. But it turned out that wasn't quite as practical as we thought it was. So the guys went out to go and do, I don't know, they went off to go and do kind of like not manly building stuff. Left me behind to do manly building stuff, and I built an epic underground palace underneath the trailer, yeah, for where they were working out of.
We were
Right.
going to
And then
get you supplies, but then we
And
got
then they
distracted.
came back and criticized it.
There was another part of that. The trailer was also entered into. Do you remember what you found inside?
I found some keys, some money. What else did I find?
A flashlight.
Yes.
Flashlight, yeah.
You found a relatively high-powered flashlight.
I can't remember what else.
After reconvening, though not before the palace of an underground safe house was finished, the rest of the group decided to do something else. What was that?
Get a bite to
saw the
eat.
car, didn't we?
Yes. Believe there was a well-traveled highway or interstate nearby that you had previously been taken on by Smokey before being dropped off. Who was the potentially poor, unfortunate soul that was caught in Jules' headlights?
Some dude named Keith. I don't know. I don't remember his name. Neither does Jules.
Chance Smith.
Oh, Chance was his name.
Chance Smith, yes.
Chance Smith. Well,
he was in his late teens.
yeah. He should have learned that thing about not picking up hitchhikers, but he didn't.
Well, when there's a beautiful woman who needs assistance on the side of the road, what young man is not going to stop and try to offer help?
A living one. So yeah. Killed him, stripped him, gave the ugly shirt to Oscar, and then also, I guess, everything. I mean, we took his truck.
There's
And
something
also your
very
mutant.
specific about the truck. Do you remember what it is?
An old Chevy, isn't it?
Yeah.
60
It's a Ford,
something.
I believe.
It's nice.
Blue.
We had a picture of it somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
Blue. I think it's souped up.
Blue?
It was a vibrant, beautiful blue. Sorry, it was a Chevy.
Yeah.
It was a 1960 blue Chevy.
Like one that my uncle used to drive, so.
And with that, you came back and you picked up your now absolutely filthy, coated in dirt, and very successful companion.
It was beautiful. But then we criticized it. Then we went hunting for Alice at the place, the burger place.
Frost shop.
The Frost Shop.
Yep. The Frost Shop, or also known to the locals as the Frost Top. It's a neon root beer mug of a sign that lit up the sky from a distance, and you knew immediately that was your first stop. Pulling in, you decided not to park too close to the area. It looks like there are parking spaces around the building, kind of akin to how Sonic is, where they'll bebop around on skates and service you at your car, give you a tray that'll latch onto the window and you can eat, and then they'll come and pick it up when you're done. You can pay your bill. But there was also an area inside that serviced for a restaurant. It didn't seem overly busy for the evening. However, a number of you went inside and decided to have a few conversations of your own. Jules, you were, I believe, the first and most ambitious. Making
Yeah.
contact with a group of teenagers.
Yeah, since, Jules is practically a teenager since she's in her 20s, I believe I made her.
Yeah,
early
you were
20s.
pretty early 20s.
Yeah, 23. She just turned 23. She died on her birthday. Poor, unfortunately, so. But yeah, she met them, she talked to them, she found out about, she goes by Alice, and then they came,
So you heard about an Alice, but unfortunately, the only Alice they know is one, a blonde, and two, out of state presently.
Right.
Do you remember their names?
No.
It was Luke, Chris, James, and Mary.
Okay. But yeah, and they also show up often there, so since it's basically the hip spot to be in a small town in the 60s.
Correct. It is also one of the spots that is open the latest here in Laplace per the group.
Oh. So, and then she relayed that to everybody else when she got the chance. And then I forget who else was in there to do some reconnaissance. I think, Peter was there.
Had two more.
Yeah, then not Hank, but Frank was in the bathroom cleaning himself up.
Correct, and that leads into something else. Frank, you had an encounter. Do you remember what it was?
I had an encounter.
Frank did, yes. In the bathroom.
In the mirror.
It left you in probably the best mood you've had in a while.
Oh. Yes, I had a visit, didn't I?
Yes, you did. A very familiar set of hands assisted you in your cleaning up routine, fussing over you. And with a delicate touch, you left the bathroom.
And I cleaned up after myself to the best of my abilities.
You did, and to that point, there was a single waitress in there working, and then there was an individual, a man, behind the counter also working. It seems like a two-person shift. She checked inside and seemed relatively impressed that despite all of the dirt you had on you when you entered, the bathroom was mostly clean.
And then I went and had some coffee. Or rather, I ordered coffee and sat at the bar and smelt it.
Correct. Enjoying a little bit of light conversation until being left to your own devices. I believe that you and Jules kept eye contact and you followed her and Peter on the way out once everybody began to disperse. However, Peter, you noticed a individual outside as you were taking in the surroundings as well as entering on your own. And you held a conversation. Do you recall the... Yes.
At the bar.
I remember speaking to the guy behind the bar.
Yes, you were speaking to the chef.
Yes. Basically quizzed him about Alice. Slipped him a cheeky $5 and put on my best persuasive face. He pretty much said that he doesn't know anyone by the name of Alice, but someone by the name of Anne or Anna matches the description, comes in here quite regularly, has left just before we got there. I think he told us roughly where she lived, but I can't remember.
She's a relatively newer face, but becoming a regular. He pointed in the direction of the drag strip and towards some housing, which is a little bit north by northwest of where you currently were. If you had to guesstimate the direction he was pointing in. He said she went that way, but he isn't sure where she goes. He's concerned, and if he finds more information, he'll let you know, especially because he got the impression that maybe she's a runaway or she's a missing person. With how you implied your questions,
We
he said
concerned
he
about
would...
our welfare,
Yeah, a welfare check. And so if he saw you again, would let you know if he found out more information on her. She does seem to be going by Anne. She fits the description of Alice that you were told. However, the individual you noticed outside was a gentleman, seemed like early 30s. He looked like he had just finished work at an office. Khakis, a button down, well groomed, and he had his food sitting on the hood of his vehicle and he was leaning against it, and he seemed to either be staring very intently at the frost top or kind of into space. And that was the only other individual you noticed outside on the main road right now. And he was across the road in a different parking lot. Like he had gotten his food and taken it over there.
yeah.
Welcome back. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Sadly, yes.
Unfortunately.
Everyone reconvened after their respective inquiries at the Frost Top and your first experiences there at your new vehicle and made a decision. You had two options. What were they?
Go back to the perfectly crafted sanctuary at the construction site.
Well, three options.
Okay.
All right. The second.
Go visit Chance's family.
Yeah.
Yes, that was definitely one of them. And then the other was to follow Alice. What were the reasons that we decided on following Chance's family?
I was hungry. Potential for a second vehicle.
Yes, that's one of
Um,
it.
Potential to feed.
Mm-hmm.
And have a second base of operations.
And that's it. That's all three of them.
No, that last one doesn't count. We've already got a base of operations.
A backup.
But this one will get rained on.
Won't get rained on this one either. My one's all protected from the seasons.
Flooded.
And even if it does fill with water, so what?
A little dirt don't hurt. Is that what I'm hearing?
I reckon.
You even put down fiberglass with the safe backing facing towards where everybody would lay so they wouldn't be itchy.
Yeah, so it'd be nice and comfy and non-itchy.
You're all heart.
Yeah.
The group went through Chase's things, found his ID and the street address listed there. How did you figure out where he actually stayed?
An A to Z, I think, did we? We found.
Yeah, we went to Did we not go to a gas station?
That's correct, you did. And that was actually Richie's suggestion, was to go to a gas station and get a map. You also checked the glove box, because originally there was paperwork in there, but you didn't go through it. And it turned out there was a map of Mississippi, a map of Louisiana, and a map of the New Orleans area specifically, which included Laplace. Following that, you decided to go to the nearest gas station and grab a local map. And then there was a little bit of conversation back and forth until it was settled upon that your good doctor would use his intelligence to find where Jody Lane is. You made the drive in relative ease, pulled up to a small single-story ranch-style home on a not particularly frequently traveled road. You turned off of a main road into another one that seemed to go a little bit further into the countryside. And there are homes on this road as well, but they're far enough apart you think that people wouldn't have an easy time seeing what's going on. There's a thick tree line, probably half an acre behind the house, a fenced-in yard at the back, several states of repair, disrepair, and just kind of eclectic vehicles in the front yard. It seems like some of them are being worked on, some of them might have been there quite a while and have started to rust a little bit. How did you approach the home as we start our session?
We split into two teams. I believe, was it Jules and I on the front?
Correct.
And everyone else went at the back. And I think we just knocked on the door and waited for someone to open it and then grabbed them.
You did. You directed Jules to knock on the door first and then stand to the side of it so that when they peeked through the lacy curtains on the front window, no one could be seen.
Yeah.
And as they opened the door further, noticing the truck outside, you grabbed them. Do you remember who it was?
Some old lady, I think.
Yes, a rather almost frail older woman.
I think I grabbed her by the neck and then basically walked in a straight line through the house until I met a wall and then sank my teeth into her. And there was some dogs barking.
Yes,
and the sound of somebody from the back of a male's voice calling out to find out if everything was okay.
Correct. He was calling out for Jane, asking what was going on. What's all that racket up there, Jane? Essentially, was being yelled down the hallway towards your direction. Entering in, you enter into what is very obviously a living room. There is the smell of not particularly an unclean home, simply a home that has had pets in it for a number of years. Kind of that scent that you just can't get rid of, unfortunately. And there's clearly items like potpourri out trying to mask it, which doesn't do a great job. As you grapple this elderly lady, she is dwarfed by your frame. You, with your newfound strength and capabilities, quickly disposed of her. Not necessarily in the fact that you began to feed voraciously, but the fact that your unchecked strength easily snapped her neck. And you just continued forward until you found a wall. Jules, you stepped in behind, and I believe closed the door.
Yes, she closed the door. She's, she looked at the dogs. They don't seem to be bothering her, if I remember correctly.
They seem to be irate, like growling, low barking, like they want to do something, but they're not moving towards either of you. They're huddled in a corner near a black and white TV set, and the largest one looked to be a golden lab mix.
That's right, the threatening
and there are
golden
about
lab.
3 little chihuahuas hiding around its legs.
Gotcha. Jules, I believe, was gonna make her way to the back door to unlock it, unless that's where the person was.
That is in that general direction, yes. So leading, as if continuing down a straight shot through the house, when you open the door, you could see down a hallway that looks like it goes all the way to the back. And there's a light towards the last maybe third of that hallway that looks like it's spilling out of an open doorway or an open archway into what you imagine is probably a kitchen.
Gotcha.
With the general layout of homes in this area. Our other intrepid individuals decided to go around the side and over the fence in the back. You found that there was a large screened-in porch, the back door of which is open, since it's inside the fence. And then looking around, you didn't try the back door, which you noticed did lead into a kitchen, but you tried a couple of the windows, finding one to be open, and then went through there instead. And that led you into the kitchen itself. And we pick back up where there is a, we'll say, elderly gentleman's voice. You can tell that there is a scratch to it that is from age, not necessarily from wear and tear or sickness. Just a little bit of gravel in there as he's calling up the hallway for Jane. And you can tell he's probably 4 or 5 feet outside of the open archway into the kitchen to your right. That is for our good Dr. Isaacs and Mr. Peter Tom.
I'm gonna look at Peter and give him the "How do you want to handle this?" eyes.
We'll just keep them quiet, as in keeping quiet eyes, rather than, yeah, doing the whole hand gesture, sign language of just do it quietly. So how far away are we from where we believe this individual to be?
You're around 4 to 5 feet around the corner. You can tell his voice is in the hallway, likely coming from an adjoining door.
Okay.
He doesn't have direct line of sight on you, and you can't see down the hall. All you can see really is the kitchen, which you're in right now. Linoleum floor, Formica countertops. Quintessential 60s. Carry over from 50s into 60s type of... You can tell that some of the appliances in here are probably about a decade, maybe close to the end of their serviceable life.
Okie dokie. I'll move forwards towards him as stealthily and as light of feet as possible. And hopefully find him, sneak up behind him, put my hand around his mouth, and hold him, sort of grapple him tight so he can't struggle out. If I find him, of course.
You do. You find a gentleman with pure gray hair. Seems a bit slicked back. Maybe he'd just gotten out of the shower or the bath, because it seems like he's more damp than sweat. He doesn't have an unpleasant smell about him with your new senses. He's leaning into the hallway. So what you come around the corner to see is he's leaning into the hallway, shirt somewhat damp around his shoulders, and he looks at you startled. Like there's just an element of shock and surprise on his face, and he immediately goes to duck back into the room that he's leaning out of. It seems to be the last room on the hall. So it's about 3 to 4 feet across the hall from you.
Okay.
He doesn't say anything. He just snap reaction tries to duck back in there. You imagine he's probably going for a weapon.
Okay. I'm just going to run in there and grab him by the face.
All right. Are you using any particular amount of force, or are you not really checking your new strength?
Not as in kicking into the whole policey thing. It's kind of that I think he's going for a weapon. I need to neutralize this, so I'm going to be relatively forceful to prevent him from doing any harm. I'm going to like snap into the whole kind of try and put him down on his face, put his arm up behind his back to restrain him type thing. I'm probably not really checking strength, to be fair. It's that kind of muscle memory of shit's going to go sideways. Win this situation.
Mm-hmm. You're able to easily overtake and overpower him without much issue. I will say he is struggling a good bit, and you can see he's trying to reach a gun on the wall. Do you clamp a hand over his mouth? How are you holding him in your grapple? And in this instance, what is your intention with him? How are you going to subdue him further?
Is this a bedroom, is it?
This is a bedroom, yes. It looks like it's probably his bedroom and maybe the lady he was calling for.
Is there much floor space?
A few feet of it, yeah. Enough
Done.
that you could probably bump around a bit before you hit a piece of furniture.
Okay. So I would have tried to grab hold. Well, would have grabbed hold of him, taken him to the floor, put him face down, arm up the back, knee across the back of the neck. Sort of typical, sort of police styley, sort of restraint type thing.
Okay.
Telling him stop resisting, that kind of thing.
With your weight on his back, he's having a hard time forming words and getting them out. But he's able to shout, "Who are you? What are you doing? Where's Jane?"
Everything will be alright. Just be quiet.
I'm gonna be honest, it just makes him struggle further. He's unreasonable at this point. Incensed, afraid, and surprisingly strong for his age. He's probably 6'2", not particularly muscular, but you can tell in his early age he was probably not a professional athlete, but he kept in shape. Isaac. There's no better way to phrase it, but all heck is breaking loose around you. What are you doing?
Sorry, this whole time we've been recapping, and it's like a you were drunk last night and this is what you did, and I'm sitting here like, huh. So I think I am going to just very calmly just kind of go back there and sit down in front of the guy that's on the ground. Richie Peter, sorry, kind of wrestling him down, and I'm gonna try and dominate him, try and mesmerize him, tell him to calm down,
Okay.
to relax.
He struggles for a moment until I do need a rouse check from you for that one. Until your words reach him and he begins to settle. You even feel his tense muscles across his back and everything relax. Peter. It's like he's just gone completely liquid.
Nice.
I'm gonna go find that gun that he was reaching for.
There's a shotgun on the far wall.
Just gonna turn to Peter and say, "I'm just gonna take this to that room over there."
Loaded.
You take it off the wall. It's got a decent heft to it. You notice that there are some shells on the nightstand.
I'll grab them myself.
Okay. Peter, you are left alone in the bedroom with the elderly gentleman as
Liquid
Isaac
gentleman.
makes his way into the hallway.
With a liquid gentleman.
A liquid elderly gentleman.
Well, I pick him up.
Mm-hmm.
Literally just pick him up and then carry him into the front room.
Alright, the scene which unfolds before both of you as you round the corner, very close to your right, Isaac, you see this first, about 3 feet or so over, some furniture has been pushed aside and you can see Frank feeding on what looks to be what you imagine is probably Jane. he is completely oblivious to most other things going on around him right now. Full focus on feed. Jules is standing there eyeing a set of terrified and terrorized dogs at this point.
Does anyone want this one?
I'm okay.
May I ask a question, Toasty?
Yes, you may.
Two questions, in fact.
Go ahead.
The first question, I'm singularly focused on feeding,
Yes.
to the exclusion of everything around me.
This is your first live feed. It is beyond intoxicating.
Mm-hmm. So, the first question is, obviously I've snapped a neck in the process of pinning her up against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Does this still count as basically, can I zero my hunger?
I would say for this time only, yes.
Okay, cool. Second question I have is, do you have any objection to my making a frenzy check?
I do not.
Because I think...
But I would like to know the reason why in your mind.
Because this is the first time I've tasted the proper human blood. This is the first time I've hunted, taken down my first victim, killed somebody in cold blood. Like, I've killed people in war before, but this is the first time I've actively hunted, captured, incapacitated, killed, and fed to the extreme. This has got to be a completely overwhelming experience for Frank. I'm strongly imagining his beast is reveling in the experience to excess, and I'm imagining, like, as he's feeding and experiencing all of this, he's becoming smaller and smaller, and his beast is becoming bigger and bigger.
Okay. I can see where Frank's head would be at for this, and I agree. Please make a frenzy check.
Okay. Where precisely do I do that on this sheet? Oh, resist frenzy. There we go. That would be... Why does it say +1 hunger applied?
You set your hunger to 0.
I did set my hunger to 0. Oh, did it actually? Oh, it didn't roll properly, that's why.
What'd it do?
It didn't do nothing. What's the difficulty of the roll, Toasty? It's basing it 2.
I would say 2 for right now. It's not overpowering for you, but it's strong.
So I imagine with that roll, I imagine Frank starts to feel himself ebbing away and has to actively scrabble to keep hold of himself in the process. It's probably the first time he's really encountered his beast, and there's a conflict. He's involved in an internal conflict. It probably stops him at this point, and he probably looks confused and slightly scared.
Yes. You feel it's almost like nails raking over your mind, but the sensation goes through your entire body. It's like electricity tears through every fiber of your being simultaneously, and this is singularly the most delicious meal. It's as though you've put your own effort into cooking a meal. That would be the best comparison. Like, you've created something that you've hungered for like a couple of weeks at this point, and you're finally filling that craving, but simultaneously you have the satisfaction of obtaining and creating that food in a way. It starts to give your senses a jolt, almost to the same, not quite dulling them, like alcohol does, but the escape that the alcohol provided you, it begins to pull you in that direction, and then suddenly there's a like tight snapping sensation, almost like a rubber band gets popped in your mind. And that is your last bit of willpower reining you back in with the thought of the hand gently caressing the side of your face earlier. It makes you suddenly remember the two that you've lost, and your thoughts, you realize as you are covered in blood, your face is coated, it's all down in the front of your shirt, on your hands at this point. It's messy. It is a messy feed. What would they think of you in this second? It doesn't remove the elation or the desire or the taste of it. It doesn't remove any of the pleasantness, but it brings you back to your senses. What would they think of you if you lost control? The rest of you see this happen to Frank as he stands there, hesitating all of a sudden. Um, Peter is still holding the unfortunately just almost limp body of the elderly gentleman, offering it up for anyone else in the room, as Dr. Isaacs is standing there with a shotgun in one hand and a box of shells in the other.
I imagine that Frank's, like, his control of his legs goes out from underneath him, his knees go, and he kind of like collapses straight down into kind of an awkward sitting position. He'll let the woman go in the process. He probably giggles as he drops it, as the elation rolls over him, and then he also has that secondary feeling of like, what would they think of you? And he probably starts like intermittently weeping and giggling at the same time. It's like really kind of these two very strong competing emotions, and he can't quite contain it. And it's very odd because this isn't how he's been with anybody. He's been very grumpy and gruff, and this is like two emotions that you probably haven't seen in Frank before.
Jules will shrug, and is the woman? I'm taking it that he took enough blood that she's not like in danger of trying to escape or anything, right?
She be dead.
Oh, she'd be dead. Okay, well then never mind.
Yeah, she did.
Gotcha. Jill.
I accidentally cracked her neck on the way through.
Oh well, accidents happen. Out of character and also in character as well. Jules would move to the bedroom to take a look around and see what's all in there. Any goodies, valuables.
All right. The sitting/living room that you entered into, you notice that there are a lot of knickknacks around. It looks like a crystal or glass made to look like a crystal ashtray on one of the tables. They're like little TV dinner fold-out trays. Moving past the others and down the hallway as this scene unfolds, you notice that there is a closed door on the left, a second closed door on the left, an open archway on the right where a dull yellow light's spilling out of, and when you look inside, that's the kitchen. And then the last door on the left is the master bedroom, it looks like. And looking inside, you can see that there is an open closet door and an open bathroom door.
Jules will go into the open bathroom door.
Okay. Inside, you notice that there is a combination bathtub shower going on, with what looks to be a rather aged shower curtain hung up. It's almost a medicinal type of soap smell in here. It's not unpleasant, it's clean, but it's a little bit strong. There's no particular floral or musk or like pine scent to it. Nothing woodsy or anything like that. Something that you would probably look for. This is very much your mother's soap or your mother's soap that you would have found.
So basically like Dove. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
She'll then take a look, she'll look at the bathtub and think she's like, I really wish they had a standalone bathtub. Then she would turn around and go back into the bedroom. Then look kind of, she's making sure that no one's like hiding or anything like that, and so they're not caught by surprise later on.
Oh, okay. So you're going through the other rooms.
Yeah, she'll go to that first door that she comes to and kind of ease it open as much as she can.
You notice this was probably Chase's room. It has what looks like probably a cramped twin bed that needs to be swapped out for his current height, or what used to be his height. You can tell that there are sentimental pictures on the wall on his desk in the corner, and then there's a bunch of baseball trophies just kind of littered around, and a few ribbons here and there. And as you look around, it's definitely, it's on the clean side for a teenage boy's room, but it's still got like clothes tossed here and there, a little bit of disarray going on. The bed's not made.
She'll get slightly a look of disgust because of the fact that it's just not immaculate, and then she'll move to the closet and look in his closet to see if there's like any weapons.
You notice that there's a wooden baseball bat inside.
She'll take it and then look at it, turn it over, and then put it on her shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And then she'll walk to leave the room and then go to that leading out. Yeah, go to that second door and then ease it open as best she can.
As you ease that one open, you notice it is another bathroom, like a standalone for either Chase or guests, probably.
Gotcha.
Opening the medicine cabinet, because I imagine you're going through most things.
She is. She's.
Go ahead.
She's looking through anything. Just like if she saw any cigarettes, she would pocket those.
Amusingly enough, he seemed to have been a pretty on the up and up kid for the most part. No cigarettes hidden in his room that you could find, at least.
Gotcha.
Inside the bathroom, inside the medicine cabinet, you notice that there are hair products, there's shaving cream, razor, a few other odds and ends. It looks like he took good care of himself, and you see some of it sitting out on the sink, like from when he got ready to go out this evening.
Complete with the aqua velva.
Yes.
Okay. She'll look at it, kind of smirk when she sees the aqua velva, and then she'll go back into the main room where the others are, carrying the baseball bat still. And when she gets in there, she'll say, "No one else is in here."
Is the shotgun loaded?
It is not.
Is it like side by side break action?
Yes.
I'll load it then. Kind of keep to myself. I don't really want to deal with either of those situations.
Fair.
When Frank starts to pull himself together, he'll be looking around and probably going in looking for a bathroom.
It takes you just a few moments. Your wits come back to you pretty quickly. Like, you see Jules step away. Your mind is probably in more of a haze, but your thought process is yours. You don't have any difficulty figuring out what you want to do next.
I want to find a shower. I want to turn it on and I want to get inside it.
Unfortunately, the first bathroom you come to has a tub. And then you're going to have to make your way towards the back room, the back bedroom, which has the combination.
I shall do that. I will turn the shower on and I'll get in. I'm not taking my clothes off. I'm just getting in.
Mm-hmm. Alright. You turn on the water. Do you care at all about like the temperature or anything? Or you just turn it on full blast?
Yep. It's just about like I am covered in blood and I need to be not covered in blood anymore.
Okay. You turn it on full blast. There are soaps and shampoos sitting on the edge of the tub and in a shampoo niche near you. So if you want to use those, they're available.
I can't imagine he's the kind of guy that worries too much about that. It's more about just kind of blasting it as much as he can. Like, he's not going to get it all off. He's not really all that worried. It's like, it's just do the best he can, like, with his hands.
Yeah. Shirt is ruined. For
Well,
sure.
I mean, I've been pretty much of the opinion that his shirt's been ruined since he's been buried. So, like, it's just
That's
kind of like stringing it along at this point.
That is fair.
His white shirt is probably now a brown shirt.
A rusty brown, yes.
Yeah.
All right. The rest of you standing in the living room. The crumpled body of Jane lays leaning against the wall. Have you done anything with the gentleman?
He's just liquid in my arms at the moment.
Okay. The dogs have not moved. They are all cowering at this point in the corner instead of barking or growling. And they seem to have gone silent.
Actually, fair point. I'm going to go find some normal, non flashy clothes to put on from probably the old man dresser. Maybe he'll have some suspenders.
He does. Quite easily, you're able to find suspenders. In fact, going through the clothing in the master bedroom, you notice that the majority of the clothing that the gentleman probably had seems to be either very well taken care of, Sunday best type of clothing, or well worn, repatched, dirty and stained overalls, t-shirts, jeans. You get the sense that looking at some of these smears, because of people you've treated in the past, a lot of them were mechanics that got injured on the job, especially since you would make house calls occasionally. You imagine that with the vehicles out front and looking at the clothes here, he was probably a mechanic of some type. So there's the availability of it, but they aren't in the best of shape.
No, I'm taking his Sunday's best.
All
His
right.
khakis and a
His
blazer, maybe.
khakis and button down. And,
Yeah.
yep.
And some shoes that are actually my size and not taken off the corpse.
They're not taken off a corpse. They're taken from a soon-to-be corpse, though.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just coming from his wardrobe rather than off his body.
Maybe.
Where's Hank?
Where is Hank? He's very quiet.
We've lost him.
He's
Would
in the
Hank
kitchen.
like to say a word or two?
So I'm guessing Hank got left behind last time.
Yes.
And told that he would meet up with you shortly. He is not there yet.
Okay. Once Frank is clean or clean, he's going to be looking for vehicle keys.
Okay. Give me a. Let's see. We'll do wits investigation.
Oh, I'm so good at wits investigation. So glad that you picked that particular combination. That's not right. Do investigation, second draft dispute, wits, submit. Difficulty 2. It defaults to. I'll just
It
do
defaults to
2 unless
2,
you
but I
tell
was
us.
thinking between 2 to 3.
Yeah, I'll work on the assumption that is because it was defaults to. I'll work on the assumption it's difficulty 2 unless you tell me otherwise. How about that?
I'm fine with that. Let's do that going forward.
Cool beans. 2.
You search the place, the usuals, the ashtray near the door where people will probably drop off their keys, rummaging around in the living room. The dogs snap at your ankles a little bit when you get too close, but they back up more into the corner at the same time.
If a dog snaps on my ankles, it's going to get a kick.
I mean, it's defending itself. It's not.
It's
It doesn't lunge at you. Let me paint this in a little bit better. It does not lunge at you. You're still like a foot or so away, but it does the like air snap. It's not trying to actually attack you. It's warning you.
Oh, in that case, as I'm walking past, I'll snap back at it.
You hear a very, very loud whimper from the poor golden lab mix as it becomes about the height of the chihuahuas around it. Passing Peter and going down the hallway. I feel like laughing is so inopportune, but being able to see your expressions is so great and causes it sometimes. Saying that, you go down the hallway, you start looking around, and you look into the kitchen, and you notice that in the kitchen, next to the back door, there is a small wooden board with several hooks, and on those hooks are rings of keys.
How many rings of keys are we talking?
There are 5 hooks. There are 3 rings of keys.
Okay. My plan is to grab the rings of keys and then head outside and start trying vehicles.
Okay. Jumping back to Jules real quick. What is your current objective? You've managed to rummage through the house decently. If you want to if you really want to look for odds and ends that you could probably pawn off or trade.
Oh.
Is that what you want to do?
Sure.
Look for flashlights as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure Jules will like look for flashlights because she can't see in the dark yet because, you know, she doesn't know about that, I don't believe, or it was touched on, or maybe it's just a player that's forgotten. She'll be looking around for flashlights. Any goodies.
Okay. Give me a wits investigation, please.
Okay.
Are you as good at wits investigation as I am?
I have nothing investigation.
Me too.
I got one success.
You don't find any flashlights. However, you do find a couple of pieces of jewelry that looked like they're probably family heirloom types. Well worn. Not particularly extravagant, but they are nice pieces. If we had to put it in terms of what they look like, dainty single chain, probably silver and gold. You find 3 necklaces. One has a small square stone on it you think might be a diamond. It's probably a knockoff gemstone instead, but it looks nice.
And she'll like she'll kind of look at the diamond, trying to judge it if it's real or not, kind of like touching it. But if she can tell if it's fake or not, I imagine Jules has that ability, like to tell if something's a knockoff or not by looking at it.
If it's a diamond, it's really low quality.
Yeah,
if it's a knockoff gemstone, it's pretty nice. It catches the light decently. Not something you would wear.
Yeah, definitely not. She's just like going, man, that guy really. He's better off dead. I'm kind of happy if I killed him and drained him because, like, geez, what a loser. And then she'll, like, pocket that and continue looking around for the other stuff to pawn.
You find a dainty silver chain with a simple silver cross on it.
Well, she really likes crosses, so she'll definitely pick that up.
Okay.
Especially because she knows, like, it's a big Catholic town, so...
It is. It definitely is.
That'll definitely move pretty fast.
That being said, what's Jules's belief?
She was a good Catholic girl, so she's pretty religious.
Does she think this would have an effect on her?
She'll kind of, but because she's wearing a cross, if I'm not mistaken, so Dad hasn't burned her, so she'll probably remember like the old stories. When she sees it at first, she'll probably like like do like, but then like if she like, but when you like see something that you're not supposed to, and it like she'll like kind of drop it real fast out of her hand, but then notice that like there's like no burn marks or whatever.
And then catch it with the other before it hits the floor.
Yeah, and then catch it with the other real fast, and then like kind of like look at it and be like, and then she'll go back to the others because she wants to do an experiment because it doesn't affect her.
All right. The last piece that you find is a simple pearl necklace, very classic. It's, you imagine, probably worn to church most days. That's probably the most wear this sees.
She'll definitely get those. Oh, finally something valuable.
It is not costume jewelry. It is genuine pearls. They aren't particularly large or overly fancy, just classic.
These will move very quickly.
I would like wits awareness from everyone, please.
I want to rouse the blood. I think I know how to do that now.
Yes. It was described to you how you could try to do that. Difficulty we will set at 3.
Of course you would.
I should have told you ahead. I apologize. Frank, the sound of the shower that you are currently in completely overrides the rest of your senses. You are just intent on getting as much of this blood off of you as you can, as quickly as possible.
Would you say this is an instinctual thing that we're rolling for?
No, this is a area thing, an environmental. Okay. Let's see. One person. All right. Peter, you
Hi.
hear the sound of an engine coming down the road. It stands out against the relatively quiet night in comparison.
Ghost Rider.
Most of the sound is secluded to the back end of the house right now.
Okay. I throw the old boy in a armchair.
He stays. He doesn't try to get up. He doesn't try to do anything. He just
Yeah.
kind of reclines back into it.
Yeah, I just point at him and say, "Stay."
That dude's still alive. My God.
Yeah. I snatch the shotgun off Oscar.
Hey, I was going to use that. Okay.
Push. And I move to the window.
Break action. Sorry, by the way.
Yeah.
I know I just said yes earlier, but yes, break action.
Move to the window and sort of subtly look through, see if I can see where it's coming from, if it's going past.
Can you see in the dark? You can, can't you?
I can.
Yes. Coming up the road, you notice that there is a 1960s Cadillac coupe. And it is slowly making its way, without headlights, towards the truck. You will slowly fade out there.